but not quite there, come to the end of the session. So next, I am going to invite Dr. Visal Musa here, but with two hats on, because he has two numbers, one right after the other. So first, in his capacity as the Dean of Research and Innovation of IUM, to introduce we've been talking about one new research project coming into Maldives through KIX and IDRC, where IUM would be leading. So for him to introduce this new research project to the audience, and also in his capacity as the KIX EMAP National Coordinator for Maldives, to give a little note on the key takeaways from this session. Dr. Visal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. A very good afternoon to all of you. I am really excited to be standing here today to share with you, first of all, a glimpse of our research project, which has been shortlisted by IDRC in the current phase of the KIX research grants. This particular research grant is to be conducted by a consortium of countries, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. So from Maldives, Islamic University of Maldives will be engaged on the capacity of the lead organization. And then from Sri Lanka, University of Colombo, and from Pakistan, Aga Khan University. And we are a team of 5 researchers. I am just a team member. Today I will try to present as much as I can, but maybe not up to the mark that our principal investigator wants me to. Oh, well, I think I must read this out. The research project is titled as Scale and Impact of Play-Based Child-to-Child. I will say CTC from now. It's difficult for me to say every time. Child school to primary school transition fun and inclusive. And this is how we try to define our problem. Understand that the numeracy, literacy, and socio-emotional skills are lacking or inadequate in preschool teachers, which makes transition from preschool to primary school not as easy as we would want it to be, according to UNICEF. And similar kind of issues have been highlighted in research elsewhere. And then well, of course, we found and we believe that this issue is similar to the 3 of our countries, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. And now we tried to relate the problem to the educational priorities of the countries. And one of the documents we referred to is, of course, could be outdated. It's the education sector analysis. We I didn't particularly refer to the educational sector plan because it seems to be outdated. But the findings from the analysis, I think, is still relevant. Where the need for training, capacity building for preschool education is emphasized. And then we refer to the partnership compact, which is relevant for now. And we found that redesigning small group instruction to target students' underlying skills deficit and literacy and numeracy is highlighted in the partnership compact. Although the overarching area of focus is include equity and inclusion, we still see that the need to address literacy and numeracy as well, including social emotional skills. And of course, combining, incorporating the concepts of equity and inclusion in addressing these gaps. And we find similar kind of statements in the sector plans of Sri Lanka, education sector plans of Sri Lanka, and from Pakistan as well. And that's why we thought this could be a potential area of interest to all three countries. And through research, applied research, we could try to find some kind of solutions to the problem. And then the solution we are proposing is not something new. This is what we called what has been called as the CTC approach, which has been there for, I think, more than 2 or 3 decades, but it seems to be still relevant. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Oh, well, it has been used in some countries, but you might notice that we have cited references from Africa only. Doesn't necessarily has to be applied to Africa only, but it has to be practiced elsewhere. But the point here is that the CTC approach in addressing the transition issues from pre-primary to primary seems to be working elsewhere. And we want to test, contextualize the model, the application to the 3 countries and see how we can make use of this in our context. And we have 3 objectives. One is to generate contextually relevant knowledge of school readiness that improves children's acquisition of the 3 skills that we are focusing, that is literacy, numeracy, and socio-emotional skills. And then to mobilize knowledge and evidence generated to enhance transition from preschool to primary school by implementing the CTC model in classrooms. And then finally, to strengthen the capacity of preschool teachers to enhance school readiness and smooth transition through implementation of the CTC model, focusing on the 3 skills, incorporating equity and inclusion into it. We have designed the study in 3 phases. In the phase 1 is the baseline study, where we tried to understand the situation by many different means, by document analysis, focus group interviews, and many other things. We will be revising the curriculum related documents, including the curriculum, textbooks, teaching materials from the preschool curriculum. We will also be having classroom observations to check the pedagogical approaches, the teaching approaches teachers use in the classrooms. We would also try to find out the existing teaching practices that are there in the teacher training institutes, and we will also be collecting student data on the 3 skills that we are focusing: literacy, numeracy, and social emotional skills. And then based on the baseline findings of the baseline study, we would be adapting the CTC model to the context of the 3 countries, and the application could be different from country to country because each country could have different contexts. So the materials, the training materials, and the modality and all that could be contextualized, although we have, the overarching same framework. The actual training packages and materials would be contextualized to the context of the 3 countries. And the phase 2 is the bigger phase, where we have where we conduct the teacher training in basically 2 ways. That is training and then exposure trips. Thank you, Josie, again. Well, trying to cut it short. In the second cycle, we have 3 cycles in this phase. This is a long phase of 20 months. In the second phase, after the training, we have the pilot. That means implementation of the CTC model in the classrooms, which will be done by the participating teachers and schools. And then pilot testing itself is implementation. Pilot testing, bringing divisions, and then again going back to the classrooms and implementing the revised CTC model in the classrooms. And that ends the second phase. Oh, sorry, we have 4 phases. Sorry. In the third phase, this is the impact evaluation, where we collect data about all that, most of that we collected in the baseline study, particularly on student performance, student data, and teacher data about their practices and experiences and observations of using the CTC model in the classroom. This is quite difficult to play with 2 screens. And the final phase is the consolidation, where we reflect on what were we able to do right and what went wrong, and what other modifications has to be brought to the teaching materials, the training materials, and then in the mode of training and in everything, and then trying to finalize the package of training so that it can be used elsewhere in other schools in the country, in the 3 different countries. Well, these data collection methods, I think I will sort of skip this. This goes across all the 4 phases. In general, I've just, made a list of various data collection methods that we will be using over the course of the study. By the way, this is a 30-month long study. I forgot to mention it in the beginning. But anyway, I think I presented it when I presented the phases. And then the participants, we estimate it to be around 1,200 students. We are not very much sure, which level are they? Of course, they will be from preschool. They will be from preschool, 1,200 students, but there will also be students from other levels as well, but of whom we will not be collecting data because, well, the CTC model is like child helping child, the older child helping the younger child. So of course, we will have to incorporate the older children as well in this. But the data we are getting is from the preschoolers. So 1,200, that's a total from all 3 countries. And then we try to get 4 schools from Maldives, trying to not proportionate, but since we have a smaller population, we try to choose 4 schools and then 6 schools each from the other 2 countries. And we estimate it to be around 60 to 80 teachers participating in the study. but this can only be determined once we get data from the participating schools. We will be working with key experts, but we are the managers. The team will be the managers. We will be working with the ctc.org. ctc.org. We'll be using them as getting their guidance as the key expert in all phases of the study, in the baseline study, in the designing phase, and also the training phase, and across all phases. And CTC will also be working closely with CTs4Children.org, who will facilitate us in the exposure trips. In addition to that, we will also be hiring local experts from the area of early childhood education and curriculum development. So all these experts will be working together with the research team. And of course, stakeholders, education stakeholders would also be, but these are the key experts, but we will be engaging through the journey, all relevant stakeholders in the country. And this is the intended outcome, which I should have said in the beginning. We want to see improved practices in preschools that are play-based and inclusive, resulting in acquisition of desired foundational skills and school readiness among children. And for that to happen, we would very much need cooperation and willingness from the key education stakeholders in the 3 countries. I think that's all from me for now. And I think we can have some time for Q&A if you have a burning question. I will try to answer, but I don't have the memory of the full project now. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Visal. The whole thing sounded very interesting. And when you got started with the topic itself, I thought a child to child. At first, I had the impression that it is about one child helping the other. I mean, helping the other means like pair work kind of a thing. But later, when you said that it's about an older child helping a younger child, how does it work? Or am I asking a bit too much?
Yeah, I will try to answer that. I don't know, I can answer it fully, but I think that's the ideal way that we understand how the CTC works. But again, as I said, as I emphasized before, this could be different from country to country. If in Maldives, for example, the older parent with a younger would not work, I think we will have to work out a different mechanism, way of sorting out. We will be working closely with CTC to see what could be the best way, to address the context in each country. Well, ideally, it's older helping younger, but we will have to work it out how it will, be working in each of the different contexts. It could be the brilliant helping, the less fortunate. I mean, we'll have to work it out. A follow-up, or yes. Yes, we have a specific focus, as I said, because especially for Maldives, our key priority area, the overarching priority area mentioned in the partnership compact is equity and inclusion. We have stated specific emphasis on equity and inclusion as well. So we will be deliberately including students of, various abilities, including those with special education needs and various kind of disabilities, what we generally now call it as students with complex learning profile. And we will be deliberately choosing students, in a gender balanced manner. So we have all considered these, ways of trying to accommodate the needs of all children when executing this model. Yeah, Dr. Nishan.
My question is, since you are focusing on early childhood age of students and including students with special education needs or students fitting the complex learning profiles, how it's very, very difficult to identify students having special needs or challenge during that age level. And most of the students will not be diagnosed correctly during that age group. And another challenge would be parents. Parents do not accept, it's very hard to parent to accept that a child is different. And during this age of kinder, especially, unless they are 6 and above, we cannot make a very, not 6, even 8, around 8 only we can make a very accurate diagnosis on a student with a special education need or student fitting a complex learning profile. So how valid will these results be from the sample that will be selected for this study?
It's a very difficult question, actually. I don't think we will be, for the purpose of the study, we will be doing any diagnosis for identifying the specific categories of students. However, I think we would much rely on the available statistics provided by the schools. I think we'll be doing things like as the things unfold, but I don't think we'll be doing any diagnostics. We will be relying on the available data.
What I was saying is, I would just like to go a little bit in depth into it. But schools will not have a diagnosed data list because they will not be diagnosed at school level, or they will not be diagnosed. Maybe some parents may have a diagnosis, but usually we don't, and we don't encourage at that level as well. And we do not separate students from studying from their peers. There's no pull-out method during that age category as well. But I would say it will be much easier if you can look into students who are having challenges in adapting to the learning environment, because usually those are indicators that there is some kind of a difficulty, whether it is social emotional, whether it is behavioral, or whether it is some other kind of anxiety. Or so I think it would be much appropriate if you could focus on this area. The thing is, I'm trying to guide you based on my experience on how actually you can get a good set of participants to get a very good idea on your selection. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nishan. I consider that as a suggestion, and definitely we'll be working with an eye, in the consultation process, even in the designing phase. Yes. Thank you so much. Do we have more questions? Oh, okay. MC would, control me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vishal. Congratulations, first of all, winning this project. I think one of the big arguments that we are concerned in here, while looking at the literature, the transition from preschool to primary school, because that's the main argument, whether our children from preschool are moving smoothly with the skills, with the minimum level of literacy, numeracy, and social emotional learning. I have no background in child-to-child approach yet, but having just a quick look through, I was thinking about the selection, the same concern that Nishan addressed. I think you really need to come up with a method, because it's in our system. I know in every country it will be different. In our system, our school children, preschool children are moving to primary school as a new school completely. Unlike in other countries, there are some schools that preschool and they continue in the same school. There are some contexts like that. I'm not sure whether you have thought about how the sample selection would be like. And it's very, very I think this is about the ethical measures as well, because you're going to deal with very little children. So you will need to have rigorous ethical measures, which is very unlike so far up in the Maldives. There are no research done with little children that much. And ethical measures are going to be a big part of the whole scenario. So I was thinking you to be, I'm very sure you will be keeping an eye on all that. But thinking about child research, it's a very complicated process. Yeah, just a comment, not a question.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. I think we have stated many of these in our proposal itself, but this help us be more alert, about the concerns that you have raised. I think that would allow me to go to the other role. Okay.